Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay, a podcast focusing on meditation, the near-death experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to Inspire Me with Jay. In a minute, we'll watch my first live stream that I did on Facebook a couple weeks ago. This was my very first live stream that I tried. I think it went pretty good. I had Stacey and David on from goldenzenkundalini.com talking about Kundalini. Check out their website below. It was kind of fun doing a live stream because it made me feel like I was a radio DJ. And that's what I really wanted to be when I was a kid. I wanted to be a radio DJ. Actually, not really a talk show host, but I wanted to do music and I wanted to be on the radio. It's kind of funny because the music I liked when I was younger was easy listening, basically elevator music, but that's kind of what I was into. So I kind of had the feel of being a DJ because I knew there was people that were going to listen to me live. But before we start our podcast, I just wanted to say that starting your new year off strong, starting it off fresh, meditation is a wonderful way to do it. And I have a meditation course that you can take that's very inexpensive and will give you everything you need to start meditating. Meditating is great because it can give you peace. It can give you relief of stress, anxiety, and depression. It can help to motivate you and help you to achieve your other goals. Maybe you have goals related to fitness or weight loss or things like that. Meditation can help to give you motivation and help keep you on track when you start to get discouraged. So check out my meditation course and start off the new year right. You could even start it today and walk into January 1st with a new outlook on life, with your meditation practice in place. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast. Hello, this is Jay Spose with Inspire Me with Jay. Today we have our first live stream. I also have another first too because I have two guests at the same time. David and Stacey are with me today to talk about Kundalini meditation. How are you, David and Stacey?
Very well, thank you.
Doing great. How are you, Jay? And thank you very much for having us.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. Stacey was on my show almost a year ago talking about her near-death experience, and that's sort of how she got interested in things like meditation and healing and things like that. But I'll just let you guys tell us about yourself. What do you do with Kundalini meditation? How did you start working together?
So I'll start only because everything truly did start with my near-death experience. So after I had my near-death experience, I was catapulted into the spiritual world. And, I was just going through a really, really tough transformational period. And I was kind of like doing my own thing. And I started noticing that I was feeling different things in my body. I really wasn't understanding what it was. And I ended up going into a spiritual crisis around Christmas time last year, realizing that once I figured out what it was, my Kundalini was stuck in my solar plexus. So I had to learn all about Kundalini, and the way I learned about it was just a fluke. And once I was able to move past that and realize the Kundalini was stuck in my body, I started learning more about Kundalini and understanding what a Kundalini awakening is. And so pretty much I went through that last year, really didn't have anyone to really talk to about it because it's something so bizarre and truly out there. And earlier this year, I did a healing session on David. We did a lot of inner child healing, and we both bonded over our spontaneous awakenings. And it pretty much catapulted after that. And both of us are now educating people about Kundalini, what it was, bringing in the female energy. And both of us pretty much experienced the same kind of physical sensations. And we were both like, this is some crazy ass shit. but we were able to bond on that level and realize that this energy has been within us this entire time. And it's pretty amazing. The energy is like nothing I could ever explain into words. But now that David understands, the two of us are like, this shit is magical, right?
Yeah, it's still difficult to really put into words that I feel fully convey the feelings that come with it, because it's just everything all at once, all the time. But it gets to a point where you are not so blown away by it that you're flawed and you can't move, but you just stop trying to explain it and trying to analyze it. You just accept it for what it is. I mean, the reason that I came into knowing about this energy was earlier this year. I was at a point where I felt I needed a bit of help finding the direction I wanted to go in, and the universe provided me with a person who was able to give me kind of practical coaching with regards to psychological aspects of what I needed to improve. And through that, we discovered through this method that it was inner child's work that I needed to do, because there was an event in my past where I felt there was a big divide between the person I was the day before and the day I was after. And a lot of my childhood innocence and excitement and general energy disappeared because of the shock of this situation I was in. And I've spent up until 4 months ago nearly now, is it?
Yeah.
Up until then, about 20 years exploring. I studied Reiki and became a Reiki master and teacher. I studied neuro-linguistic programming, which was a more psychological therapeutic method that was kind of more practical. I discovered lots of ways to improve myself and to help myself help other people, but I still couldn't find that root of that thing that was just still niggling away and not leaving me feel completely satisfied. And I was given the opportunity to work with this lady, who a wonderful person called Danielle, who basically she was offering free help to do her studies. So I took advantage of that, and through that, she took me through this course to find the inner child work, suggested a way to kind of connect with that. And then literally the point I got there, I think there was a day's gap where I did a meditation, which was very powerful. And then the day after that, I had the session with Stacey, and I was asked what I wanted to work with. I told them inner child work was what I needed to work with. So that was focused on. And basically it was the root to all the things I needed to work with. We found the key to the problem, found a way to release it, and literally lifted. It was like when Superman is carrying the planet, literally, it was just this huge, massive weight just pushed out of my energy system and away from me. It was perfect. And it made that room in my energy, removed all the gacky old stuff that didn't need to be there anymore, and basically made room for the Kundalini energy to burst up. It literally, as soon as I lifted, the energy of the Kundalini grew from my root. I felt it shoot away at my body, over my head, down my arms. And it was like when you listen to a piece of music that gives you that buzz, it was like that, just the pure tingles all over me and just so intense. And I was just like completely blown away with how strong it was, because I wasn't trying to make it happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. It just came. But that was the best thing, is because there's no way I could have preempted it or made it up or, imagined it. It was there. It was raw. It was real. It was the most intense feeling I've ever had. And basically, after that, I carried on talking to Stacey. I said, kind of had a bit of a guidance with her, because I was like, Stacey, I feel like this and I feel like that. And before I'd even really got too far with it, Stacey was like, you said you were pretty sure that it was my Kundalini awakening because you'd experienced similar things. And then I looked into that, and then it made more sense if that's what it was. And I didn't deny that it was that. And then after that, I explored how people have come about having their own awakenings, what they've done. And a lot of the time, people specifically practice yoga and meditations linked with the Kundalini energy to get themselves to that point. Mm-hmm. Well, I hadn't specifically done that, but I believe that through all the things that I practiced myself, through all the experiences I'd worked on, the fact that I'd discovered myself what my issue was and how to overcome it, found the help. And it's like the universe just packaged it all up on, here you go, David, this is what you need. And that balance, that strength of inner energy, the Kundalini energy, is a very personal thing. But having that strength of energy from within versus or alongside the energy of the world and the environment we have to live in and everything that comes with that, the two were balanced finally. And that's where I found this peace. It's a very cerebral, very mental kind of situation. You go through so many different changes in perspective of the life that you're living, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, what you care about, what you don't care about, all these different things mixed with these very physical sensations that kind of add to it as well. But it's like a whole body experience all the time. And the thing with the meditation is when we've meditated now, it's just makes you feel like you are really, really strongly connected with every other element that exists in the universe. And like I said, it's very strong, not to the point where you're lying on the floor going, I don't know what to do with myself, but it's a huge environment of energy that you feel connected with and really able to perceive. That's the best thing about it. It's like there's still things that are mysteries, but when you, especially with healing as well, healing in the meditations, it's just phenomenal. It's beyond anything I ever thought was actually possible. And there's nothing impossible in the spiritual realm, but it's not until you experience it that you go, wow. And there's a lot of wow moments for us and the people we work with as well that we take through these situations. We had a client on the weekend who we took through a past life regression hypnotherapy session to heal an element of her past life, and we managed to do that. We found the place, we sent the healing to that place, and don't you agree, Stacey, when she came back out of it, the difference in her
9 day
on her face was intense. And it was, you know, I believe it's the same place you go to, it's just a different way of getting there. But when you can work in that world and you can do these things on a kind of subconscious and conscious level, because you're following your instincts, really, you're more observing it happening, but even though you're the one who's instigating it, but you have to be able to work in that environment effectively for it to work well. But I don't think it would if it wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
And that's a crazy thing. You have to just trust if the thing is right for you sometimes. If it's not, I don't think you'd be allowed to do it, because whatever you want to call it is behind the scenes will make sure that nothing goes wrong because it knows what's going on. But we still have to go through it, even though it preempts it and it can tell what's coming. We, as human beings in this environment, have to still go through that process because that's how our lives and our logic works. We're linear beings, so we have to go through the linear experience. I hope this is making sense because I feel that it is. But
it's a lot. It's a lot for us to comprehend. It truly is.
Well, what is like the history of Kundalini? Where does it come from?
Oh, my goodness. David, I mean, basically we all have Kundalini energy in us. This is the easiest way I explain it to people because there's so much to know about it. And understand, I'm still basic. I did not ask for this. The spiritual world found me. I'm learning as I go. But basically, Kundalini energy lies dormant in our spine. Okay? We all have this inner female, male energy. So the Kundalini is that fire feminine energy, the divine feminine we all have in us. So when all of us have trauma, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of like, we can do this ourselves, we don't have this feminine energy. So when we want to wake up our Kundalini, we do it by doing things, a lot of inner child healing, a lot of grounding, a lot of chakra work. And it's amazing. So basically it's bringing in that feminine energy that we all have dormant at the bottom of our spine. And when it wakes up, you can't even put the magnitude of it into words because it's indescribable. You can't explain it, but you feel on a cellular and soulful level so complete. Am I right, David? When you're aligned with this energy, this female divine Kundalini energy, it's like nothing we could put into words. You're whole, you're complete, your body is balanced. You've got that, homeostasis, the yin and the yang. So you've got that perfect combination of the male and female. And when that happens, it aligns. It's just crazy. But yeah, Kundalini, meditations and yoga, it's been around. I don't even know how long, but from what I've heard, and I do not do yoga, it is the yoga that you want to do to raise your awareness, to raise your consciousness. So people specifically, seek out Kundalini yoga to help with their, the levels of consciousness. But the Kundalini is something, I definitely would not go searching for it, because it will bite you in the ass. I was not prepared, obviously, and it could lead people into a very, very deep psychosis, because you literally feel like you're going batshit crazy. You really, we don't encourage people with the Kundalini. We just teach them different ways. We, educate them about the Kundalini, but it's not something I would recommend that people go and actively search, because it's going to happen if it's meant to happen. You can't force it. You can't mess around with it, because it could be very, you're shedding layers. You're shedding layers.
Is it similar to Reiki?
In the way that it's a natural energy.
It's natural.
I don't know whether you would, not in the way that it's used, as in with Reiki energy, it's in anything anyway, but you are attuned to it, which makes you more aware of it, and you able to tangibly interact with it, and then you learn the symbols, which enables you to manipulate the energy that you're working with, or to attune people to it.
Reiki is more channeling
level. This is more Reiki as a
channel Reiki
anyway, but it's more seems to be from an external source into the body, through the body and into the environment, even though it's in the environment anyway, but it's a separate thing, where the Kundalini energy is
everyone has dormant.
I don't think it's something that you necessarily on its own use as a healing modality. It's more just a catalyst, an enhancement of the energy that you have anyway. I've been looking at into the history of it. The actual understanding of it came from about 500 BC, so it's a very ancient energy, but it wasn't really kind of coined as a technique and modality in the way that we look at it now until the 1968. It was introduced and then used as a course where you could learn how to connect with it, do the yoga and everything in a more specific way. I think it's another one of those things where it's gone from being part of all overall life to a coined lifestyle, if you like, and a certain path to be followed to hopefully come to that point where you are having your awakening of the energy. Like I said, when I first went with it, I didn't think, I've tried to get here, but I think that's the modern thinking, isn't it? These days, you have to do a course, you have to do certain modules, you have to do tests and exams, and then you get your certificate at the end, and then you're qualified to be whatever you want to be. Where really, every single thing like yoga and all these things that are just us using our natural environment, really, they're not there to be certified, they're not there to be quantified and turned into something that someone can charge money for, and then give someone the right to call themselves a practitioner or master of it, whatever it is. It's all there as part of normal everyday life anyway, but because we've been so used to needing proof of things to be satisfied that they are allowed and real in the way that we view things, it has to be that way in people's heads, because I can't go to someone and go, I couldn't advertise myself as a Kundalini master, because someone will be like, well, where's your certificate to do that? Where's your insurance? But, at the same time, I'm not saying I'm a Kundalini master, but I know that the Kundalini energy is a massive influence in our healing and in our teaching now anyway. And it's not a separate thing we've bought and got access to. It's something that we have just become aware of that exists within us, and has had that space to grow.
We were chosen.
Yeah.
What are the odds that two people that had spontaneous Kundalini awakenings align? The way the universe aligned us, the way everything happened, the synchronicities, we can't deny it. that we're obviously doing, we're following what feels good. And it's just natural, beautiful alignment with what we're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, because it's just magical. It's just everything about the Kundalini to me is just magical. That's all I can say. The energy is magical.
If you look at it, you know, on a practical way, you've got a 39-year-old guy from the Midlands of England and a fabulous at
55 and alive in 14 days.
From Jersey that's moved to North Carolina that we happen to meet on the internet, and we have grown a friendship, a business partnership. We've just trusted each other. We've never been in the same room as each other. But for some reason, we just feel that we are the right people to work with each other, and we haven't questioned it. We've just gone with it, and we've achieved more than I think either of us have really in a consistent way in the last 3 months of really working at being a business. We know we've got clients from them just seeing us talking the way we are now, through some advertising, some word of mouth, and also we have plans we're going to do a retreat out in San Diego, because a connection has been created there, so we can do a live week-long situation and do some really intense life-changing healing and teaching with people face-to-face from wherever they're going to come from. And you know, some people will be like, you know, that's just one thing, but to us that's huge.
Everything.
You know, and it's just, it's just magically unfolded. It's not been effortless, but it has been very easy, very easy, and just unfolded and just been bigger than I think any of us would have really dared to even think we could achieve. But it's just unfolding and happening, because it's the right thing to do, and that's the most beautiful thing about it. Is we are just being gifted, like, it's blessing after blessing. It's like, here's this experience, here's that experience, here's a person who wants to talk to you and, you know, find out more about you. People, you know, you obviously care about this subject and want us and find us interesting enough to be on your podcast, and that in itself is amazing. You know, the fact that before I've spoke to a few people about what I do, but I never really had that much support, and now I have people all over the world, and there's this whole kind of culture I'm experiencing of people being interested in things, and the fact this stuff is being spoke about publicly. You know, 20 years ago, if I was doing this, people would probably be quite dismissive or not as supportive, but these days people are realizing that nearly anything is possible, isn't it? You know, there are some boundaries, but so many people are having, no, not just us, but these experiences, loads of people are having awakenings of different varieties and experiencing these amazing things that we didn't think people were able to do. But now the thing I love about this is because we can access this information and spread it quickly, you can see how many people are doing it, and in my eyes prove that there's a reality in it, because so many people who've never met each other or really looked into each other's lives are having similar experiences. And I always say this with any kind of thing. I've said that with Reiki, you know, people from thousands of miles away explaining the same things that I am and other people are. So we're either all crazy or we're all right. And I just believe that we're all right in what we're doing, because we are having these experiences and none of us are making it up. You might get some people that fake it because they want to be popular or whatever, but I genuinely believe that a lot of people are just having these experiences out of the blue. And I think it's great that we're having a chance to spread this information, this knowledge, because there may be people watching this who may be going through a similar thing and thinking they're on their own and that they're going crazy, where really they might be going, oh, no, actually, I can see what these people are saying, and I agree. And therefore, they get that satisfaction knowing that they're not on their own or lonely or going crazy, and they are just having a unique experience.
Yeah.
Do you think there's probably a lot of people, millions of people, that are having Kundalini awakenings but have no idea what it is or what it's called?
Awakenings.
But it's just happening.
I think awakenings.
Spontaneously.
Yeah, just spiritual awakenings. I wouldn't add the Kundalini right now, because I think people are just understanding now that it's more mainstream. A spiritual awakening isn't so scary, but I feel so many people are still petrified of the unknown, that they're still, you know, their little toes are, oh, I don't know. I'm a little scared about the unknown and that what we don't know. And we're just encouraging people, jump. It's scary as fuck, and you're going to shed a lot of layers, but with the awakening, with the shift in consciousness, level of consciousness right now, everything that's happening, people are shedding layers, and I think people are afraid because it's happening very, very fast, and people are like, more people are depressed now than ever. More people are committing suicide now than ever. More people are dealing with severe mental health issues now than ever. Like, now's the time that people need to say, yes, I'm shedding layers. It's going to be okay. It's crazy what's happening in the world and with people's mental health right now.
And it's 2222 in my world, so really into that what you will. But that's another thing, is the synchronicity with numbers and the physical things in our world that
what's happening.
That represent the changes in things at the moment. I think there probably are a few people that are having Kundalini awakenings that may be on their own. Chances are there are, because there are billions of people in the world, and more people are, even if they're not having massive full-on awakenings, they're realizing that they may have empathic qualities or knowledge. They are realizing that they're more sensitive to things. Some people are realizing they are naturally born healers, or finding an interest in doing holistic healing, because I've had this conversation a few times, but it seems that these days, because we're allowed to expose ourselves as, a spiritualist or a healer or whatever on the internet and in front of people without really needing to worry too much about any repercussions that may be negative, we are allowed to have the freedom to express ourselves and be proud of doing so, I suppose. Same with a lot of different cultural aspects of life at the moment. But this stuff's been going on for since biblical times and beyond. But only the last 200-300 years since industrialization, modern medicine and modern societal structures came about, has it really been kind of oppressed, because people would rather, again, trust in certification and evidence of things. All medication started as plants, and which came from herbology, because people tried different plants and either felt pain relieving qualities or just tripped out completely, or whatever they discovered, they knew that there was something about it and it was worth teaching. And it's like same with shamanism. Shamanism is ancient, but we still talk about it and still use it in whatever ways. And same with all holistic healing. But modern society came along, kind of witchcraft, obviously, we know about what happened with that, but now it's like both ways are allowed to survive together. We're allowed to have understanding of spiritual practices. We're allowed to indulge in religion. Christianity is ancient, and that has been regarded as something worthy of the praise and respect that it has, to have become as big as it has now. I mean, if in any kind of disrespectful way, but that is everybody trusting in their faith, of the feeling that they have a connection with God and Jesus, and they believe it, and that's what it is. It's a shared belief and a faith, but it's still, apart from the experience that people have had, there's still no proof, apart from the book and the culture that's grown around it, that it's even worth paying attention to. I literally do not mean that in an offensive way. I completely believe if anyone believes in a religion and it's real in their world, then it's real. That's everything is, it's all our perception of things. But the faith that people have had in something like that has just been unerring, hasn't it? It's just been completely there because people have felt it's right. And it's the same with any kind of way of doing things. I believe that Reiki's right, because I had an experience where I lay down in front of a guy who I knew practiced Reiki. I didn't know what Reiki was. And I shut my eyes, so I didn't even see what he was doing, but I felt a difference, and I trusted that was real to me and followed that path. And I was saying with the Kundalini experience, I felt something rise up in me, and just there was that knowledge of something was different. And when even though this might sound crazy, but even before I knew what Kundalini was, I kind of knew that that's what it was, because the knowledge has its own tone anyway, doesn't it? Because we are just receivers of it. We're not manifesting it. We're not making it. We are just sensing it. But because we are part of the universe anyway, the universe knows itself. And that, if you want to look at it as what the universe is, we are just, I said this to Stacey, I feel like we are the neurons of the brain of the universe. We are the conduits that pass the information and learn and grow between each other for the universe to learn more about itself and what it is. But again, it's all just faith. People will be like, oh, he's just talking absolute coswallop. But some people will be like that, and other people will be like, no, I'm totally on his side. It's all about perception, really.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you know, me and Stacey have said we've got to this point where we are working together. We've worked with people over distance, and we've made tangible, big differences in their health, in their mentality, and in their energy, and in their frame of mind. That, you know, we don't doubt it. We're not going to go out there going, you must believe in us, and telling people what to experience. But when they do report back to us what we've experienced from our perspective, and they've had the same thing, then we trust it is true. Same with meditation. There's nothing saying just sitting there and shutting your eyes is going to do anything apart from make you relax and maybe fall asleep. But as I'm sure all three of us here have known, the places we've been to when we've been in meditation, they're far beyond anything sometimes that we could even conceive, really, aren't they? But we trust in it, and we believe it's true, and we know it's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really, I really love the fact that we are in these times where we can do these things, explore them, and talk.
It's a great place. Yeah.
This way, it's awesome.
So, what do you do in terms of your partnership? How do you help people and work with people?
We're the facilitators. We teach people how to self-heal. So we give them the tools to show them how to heal themselves through connecting, through meditation, Kundalini, Reiki, whatever healing modality we do. David's an NLP practitioner. I'm also an archangelic light practitioner. So there's a lot of different healing modalities we bring into a session where people might say, I never knew, I didn't have options like this before, you know? So it depends on the situation, but we bring all different healing modalities in, and we are the vessel. You know, we are not healing them. We explain to people, you will heal yourself. Our bodies are physically equipped to heal ourselves. It's truly amazing what can happen when you trust in your body and source to heal. So we teach people this. We teach people different healing modalities, stress management, decrease the anxiety, pain relief, all by shifting their energy and shifting their perception. You know, we give people different options, but it's amazing to work on this. Like David said, you can't see, feel, taste, touch, but you know. Healing on this, you just know. So for people that are coming from left brain, analytical thinking, Western medicine, it's not going to make a lot of sense. You got to disconnect from that, and you have to come into our session with an open mind and say, I'm ready to heal. And we give them the tools, and the results have been amazing, life-changing. We can't put it into words because we give people options that they never had before. And I also have a 27, background in nursing. So we kind of incorporate a lot more Eastern, but a little bit of Western. It's amazing what we've been gifted to do. It's amazing. And we connect telepathically.
Yeah.
So if someone's in a meditative state, go ahead. I was just going to say, if someone's in a meditative state, can they just start to draw energy for healing, like if they need a physical healing or emotional healing, and just start working with that, even if they don't understand all the intricacies of
we meet them where they're at. We meet people where they're at. There are people that are like, what the hell's a chakra? What is energy healing? So we actually, we do an assessment. We do a consult to meet them where they're actually at. And this is where we base the care plan moving forward. So we love I like to call them the little virgins. They're clueless. They have no idea when it comes to energy healing. They're scared. And we hold their hand. And, I feel that since Dave and I have been actually through the physical manifestations that have happened with a spontaneous awakening, we understand, and we can meet people truly where they're at. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, addiction. We meet people exactly where they're at. So.
Where's the
But we've been
situations where
through
you
these
call in
difficult
the
situations.
Kundalini energy?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I said, where are the situations you think where you'd be relying more on Kundalini techniques?
Inner child. If trauma survivors, we have a lot of trauma survivors that we have as our clients, and the inner child really, really comes out with the Kundalini, because that's when it, the creativity, playfulness, especially if people didn't have a childhood. So we explain to people how if you go back and heal your inner child when your wound started, let's start there and find the root cause of your issues. We infuse the Kundalini, we infuse the energy, we bring in the inner child healing. And they're like, oh, wow. No one ever thought of inner child healing, but it's like if you're traumatized, let's say you abused, abandoned, whatever happened to you in your childhood, that's the root cause of a lot of your physical diseases. So we bring in the energy through
And
that, bring in a lot of inner
as
child.
well.
Very
The
emotional level. We meet them on all levels.
feelings that come out, and the determination to change those things comes with that personal inner fire of where people are coming to us because there's something they know that they want to change, and they see
Stuck.
us and what we're doing, and they feel that we are the people to approach. They go out of their way to find us, make contact with us, we arrange an appointment with them, and then we've had a few people, haven't we, who said, I just felt like you were the people I need to reach out to, because they can feel that connection. They know that there's something that we can do that they need, and then we're able to provide for them. And then we find out exactly what call action to take. And it's all, again, you're saying, yeah, how does the Kundalini come into it? The Kundalini's in it all the time because it is our universe, our environment that we're working in. It is making those connections between us and the other souls of people that we're working with that feel that they need to come along to us on their path to get to the point they want to get to. And that's how it interjects into everything. And it does, it just makes it, like you said, with the hypnosis. I've done past life healing, like hypnotherapy before, but not in the way that we did it as a healing thing. But I just knew that that was the right method to take. And I knew that even though Stacey had never linked with me to go to that place to do the healing, we knew that we could do it because we just know that we have the strength of that energy behind us to make it work. And it did. And that's the thing. It's just a certainty. And it's just it doesn't leave any room for doubt.
Very true.
It fills it up so much. It fills that cup up all the time. And it can be times when you might be a bit tired or not really feeling 100%, but between it all, you just know that everything is okay. It keeps you level. And that's what we are giving to other people. We're saying, we've been through, we could list the traumas that we've been through, and it would probably make you cry if you looked at it, but we're not focusing on that. But we are using that knowledge and that experience to be able to honestly say to people that have been through some of the things that we understand what it's like to be there. But we are living proof that we can be in those places where we feel we're on rock bottom or even further below that and still make a comeback and come up and be happy, smiling people with love for ourselves and others. And that's what impinges on us, is that faith again. Just the faith and the trust that this is the right thing to do and that it's a good thing. And no doubt about that. That's how
much higher connection to source, like a much higher connection. What, Jay? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, so do you guys sort of work together jointly with one person at the same time, or do you individually work with a person?
All together. We form a triangle. Yeah, we form a triangle, and we get our clients in a meditative state where we form a triangle, and so we are connecting on such a level. And this is even for people that are basic, that have never meditated before. They've never experienced anything like it, but you feel the energy shift, and that's how we know we're connected. Everything is energy, so yeah, we connect, we do everything together, and it's crazy. It's amazing how it works. Like if this was me a year ago, I would have said this is horseshit. Y'all are crazy. But results, and it doesn't lie. What?
Yeah, I was saying how we kind of pick a place to start where Stacey tends to start at the top on the head space, and then I start at the feet, and then we kind of work our way towards the middle and then meet in the middle. And there'll be some times where I'll feel that something needs moving. So it's like an operating theatre. I'll be holding the clamps while she's doing the stitching or cutting the energy out, whatever it is it needs doing. We just instinctively know we're in that space where we sense who's where and what needs doing. Sometimes we just need to look like, obviously we're working like we would be with talking to you, where we'd have us on the screen and then the other person, and even though we're not saying anything because it wouldn't seem appropriate to break the silence, we just know by looking at each other, or not even having to look at each other, we can just sense what's right and what isn't, and then we get the work done. We just communicate in that way very, very smoothly and very strongly, and we always end up finishing at just the right time, don't we? You know, we have our influence, but also the influence of the environment we're in. It just seems to wrap it up at the perfect time. We do the work. Sometimes it only takes up to half an hour is enough, and we've done everything we need to do. Sometimes it's just 20 minutes. The linear time thing really kind of goes out the window. Sometimes 10 minutes can seem like an hour, can't it? And sometimes half an hour can seem like a couple of minutes. It just doesn't really matter when you're in that space. You're just there doing what you got to do. And even though we are consciously in that space, I find it's almost like I'm observing myself doing it. It's so subconsciously controlled, so automatic in a way that you just watching it go on. And you know, our hands are doing things, our brains are doing things, but it is more just, it's meditation again, isn't it? It's just a active meditation, I suppose. But it gets into the right place, and it just makes the difference, and it does the job that's needed to be done, and in a effective, tangible way for the people. Again, you know, we have people who've never been in these situations, but when they come out of it, you can see that they've felt it and that they've gone with it, and it's made a difference to them. And then they're happy to carry on talking about it with us after, and then come back for more. So yeah, again, it's nice to have, even though we trust in what we're doing, it's lovely to have that confirmation from the people that we're working with to say these things, so we can go, yep, that's exactly what we are doing, and we want to hear it. And there's a lady I did some Reiki on the other day, and I like to, I think same as Stacey, we like to tell people what we've done quite quickly, because there's so much that we want to make sure it's been done. But I left a message for this lady on a voicemail, and then she messaged me before she'd listened to it, saying what I basically just said. And then a few minutes later, she sent me another message. I've just listened to it, and that's exactly what happened. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's crazy. But it's great to have that confirmation without preempting it or kind of trying to control it. The fact that you get that confirmation from the person saying what they've experienced, and there's no way either of you could have known that until you'd said it. And even if you haven't said it, but you've both confirmed it, you're both, well, you know it's right, and you know it's happened. And that is the most amazing thing. We're not controlling anything, really. We're not doing anything to make a person feel or think a certain way, but they are coming to that conclusion the same as we are. And that's why we both go, right, well, that's obviously exactly how it was meant to be. It's it's fantastic. I think it's
most of the time, do you have to have multiple sessions or just one session with the person?
It depends what they want, doesn't it?
We do a lot of spiritual advising, which is usually like one session, but usually our healings, we prefer 3 sessions to really truly, you know, but we've had sessions, we've had single sessions. We prefer 3 only because I feel like that's what's worked, right? Don't you think? Usually 3 sessions within like 3 weeks, a month. Truly mind-blowing, life-changing. So it just depends on what they're looking for. And, you know, we offer a lot of services, you know, that we can offer, but we're really, for December, I think we're focusing on our spiritual advising. We're really enjoying that because we do card readings. We're both mediums and we have fun with that. Right? Mm-hmm. Where do you go?
Is that a set of cards I see in your hand, Stacey, by any chance?
Oh. Wait, what'd you say?
So there's that set of cards in your hand. Yeah, not
I know. I like play with them all the time, but we're actually, for the month of December, we're focusing on spiritual advising, and we just love that because it's educational, it's fun, and we light a little spark. So we enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. So it's like when you're healing from one end and the other, is there sort of like that white light energy that's going through the person, touching them?
We do the rainbow energy. We do the holy fire Reiki. We do the rainbow energy. So we like them to see the white light, and then we infuse the color of the chakras. So they're seeing a rainbow, a menagerie of beautiful, beautiful rainbow colors. But yeah, we always start, David does beautiful, beautiful meditations to lead them to the light. And then I infuse a lot of color, and just, the synchronicities are just beautiful. And for people that's never meditated before, it's just amazing. Like, I love being a nurse. I was a nursing instructor for a while, and I love that aha light bulb moment. Being able to do that for people, like the aha moment. And we just love doing that for people because they have these aha moments that they're like, holy crap, I never knew that. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Well,
do you think that's like, I mean, when you talk about source, is that like God?
It depends. It's the God of their own understanding. I mean, today, I think I didn't show David this picture yet. Mine is God or universe, but I believe we are all one. So today, when I was walking on the beach, at the beach for a couple days, right in the sand, Jesus loves you. I took a picture and I'm like, thank you. Like, to me, it's one. So it just depends, Buddha, Allah, Jesus, God, divine source, whoever your higher power is. So,
but I think that's where it's kind of, some people find it difficult to say that they are working with God's energy, because some people be like, you can't claim that because only Jesus could do that because he was the healer and that's it. But if you believe that God created everything and he works through us and we are him, then realistically you could say, yes, we are part of God. Because I've said to Stacey, especially these last couple of months, I would never really been labeled myself as a Christian or any particular religion, but through the work that we've been doing and the more and more we are working with it, I feel that I am beginning to understand what God is and how he whatever you want to label it as works, and the fact that things that we can do are so, like, we've had some out there experiences, but recently I think they've really been something else, haven't they? And to have that experience and know that it's not your brain making it up in imagination really does show the power and the vastness of what's possible to do. And I do believe that only that could be coming from whatever's created this universe. It is almost beyond words. Phenomenal, fantastic, every positive words you could put with it just does not really seem to fully touch it, of how magnanimous I feel.
Magnanimous.
It's amazing. It really is.
We need God more than ever now.
Well, that's the point. I think the reason that people like us having our awakenings, the reason people are becoming interested in caring about meditation, energy work, is because it's like the dam's been waiting to burst the banks for years, and now it is, and now everything is just flowing. It's waited and waited. Now it's like, look, the universe is like, look, if you're going to really live and do the best with what you've got, you need to pay attention, because we've been ignoring it for far too long now, and it hasn't really been anything but detrimental to the general psyche. Like you said, we've got people committing suicide, you've got people who are lonely, you've got people who are living in luxury with everything they could ever need, and literally down the road are people who are destitute with nothing. I mean, that's kind of says it already. And we need to respect each other. We need to respect the world that we're in. Doesn't matter how much you have a belief in whatever spiritual lifestyle or culture. People as humans just need to realize that we have a finite amount of resources for us to live off, and there's nothing has damaged our environment as much as we as a species have, and that's just the truth. But it can be reversed if we really want to, but we need to do it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you know, it's going to go past the point of no return.
Yeah.
But if we just did that, if we shared what our resources, if we stop polluting things, stop making so much stuff that goes straight to landfill without even being used once, and cared about each other, respected each other's race, culture, sexuality, religion, whatever, then we could all just have a nice, peaceful, healthy life. And we could everybody could just sit and meditate. If you got half the world to sit and meditate and find that peace, don't have to go anywhere, don't have to do anything too woo, just shut your brain down and understand what you can do with it. People would just be amazed.
Sit at the same table. We're all sitting at the same table.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly how it is. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's nice to be find life interesting, but we're not looking out to be superheroes. You know, we can do these things, and it seems unique because in a way it is, but we're not unique in only being able to do it. Anybody can have these experiences if they want to.
Yeah, true.
It just depends if they want to or not. You don't have to do it. You don't have to care about it. But like I said, even if whatever your feelings are, if you just respected yourself as a human being and the environment we're in, people could be happy anyway. And if they did have that spiritual element to it, imagine what we could do. When people fantasize about time travel and, you know, visiting other places, and like, you know, if you just sit down and shut your eyes and do that, you can do that. I've seen myself, in my meditation, sometimes I've gone through a portal and stood behind my physical body and seen myself meditating, having this experience, and I didn't make that happen. It just unfolded, and that's just one little thing, and that was amazing on its own. So with healing, you know, we can send healing energy anywhere in the world, and it's weird because like there's the lady I did healing on the other day. I've never met her. I know her name. I've seen a picture of her, and I've sat there saying, right, I'm going to send healing to this person. Use the Reiki symbol to send it, and she has felt me directly interact with her. I mean, you know, technically that shouldn't be possible. Why should it be? But it is.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it works, and that's why I think people need to kind of get their head around is stop the cynicism. Don't believe everything, because there are a lot of stuff that is not worth paying attention to, but the automatic doubt that gets in the way stops people doing things. If you just trust that stuff can happen, because we look at every situation every day, and if you think about, we've got to this age, we've managed to survive. We've had to bring up from our parents, but we've managed to survive, think, thrive, educate ourselves, and all this stuff. And every day, every moment is just a chance of whether you survive or not, isn't it? You know, something could fall out of the sky, something could explode, whatever, but we don't think about that, do we? We just go day by day because it's normal to us. But if you look at what we are and what we're doing outside, you know, from an outside perspective, everything's a miracle on its own anyway. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff we're doing isn't really that far-fetched. It's just a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, does it have to be a little bit of openness to it?
You have to. You can't do any of this with a closed mind. No. You have to be open-minded. Even if it's just that little spark of intrigue, you got to have that or it's not going to work, because, you know, you've heard of the placebo effect. It's 1000% true. Mm-hmm. You got to go into this with the mind that this is going to work. I'm excited. I'm intrigued. And that alone, setting that intention right there will blow your mind. You could literally start as simple as that. I'm open to receive what is for the highest good. If everyone could do that and got that little spark of what David and I are talking about, just that alone. Just that alone. We all have that spark of God in us, whatever you want to call it, spark, you know, divine spark. We all are born with that spark. We are not meant to live a life of suffering. And I think that's where the confusion is, because people feel like I deserve this. I was a horrible human being. I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. Let that shit go. We're not supposed to live a life of suffering. If we all connected to that source inside of us, that inner wisdom, that inner being, we would see life with brand new eyes through meditation, what you teach, Jay, through what David and I teach. It's as simple as, like David said, closing your mind, open your heart up to what truly life is all about. Crazy.
So is it basically you could heal from anything, you think, whether physical or mental, emotional?
As an
Is there
oncology
anything that
nurse,
you can't do?
no, I believe I came back from my deathbed. I've seen patients, stage 4 cancer, terminal, on their deathbed, given 2 weeks to live. It's amazing. The will to live is mind-blowing. There's a book called Radical Remission that anyone, it doesn't matter if you're diagnosed with cancer, autoimmune, whatever your diagnosis is, get this book. Get the book.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is mindfulness, mindset. I truly believe, after what I've seen and what I've done to my own body, so far with what I've been smacked down with, I have been able to heal. I've been able to heal. And I believe 1000% our body can heal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
Doesn't matter.
Healings that you do, is most of the healings you do, are they going to be instantaneous or gradual?
It truly depends. I mean, normally with Reiki, it does take a couple of sessions. I can only speak for myself. After my first Reiki session for 6 weeks, I was on a natural high. I had no anxiety. And this was one session. I didn't know what Reiki was. I was so desperate. I was looking for answers. One session of Reiki completely changed my life, my mindset, and everything. And for 6 weeks, I was on this natural high of just feeling unblocked. So I believe one Reiki session absolutely can unbreak the stagnant energy. For me, that's what it did. Some people might have one session. Some it might take a couple of weeks. It all depends. Again, if you go into it with the mindset it's going to work, it's going to work. It's also going to work quicker if you tell your body, I'm ready to heal. Like, give your body permission to heal, and the universe will make it happen. It's amazing. Set the intention, and
Well, there's been times with my
Have you had
fiance where she'll have that. Sorry. I was going to say, well, there's been times when.
Have you had specific clients?
Hmm?
No, I was going to
I'm
say,
sorry,
have
what
you
did
had
you say
specific
specifically?
clients that have had healing?
Yeah, just as whenever it's needed. My fiance, sometimes she gets quite bad headaches from stress, so I will literally I don't even go through the process of opening up and do everything with Reiki. I'll literally just put my hand on her head, give her the energy, remove the blockage or the stress, whatever it is, out of her energy and out of her head, and ask it to be taken to source, and it goes away just like that. I'd also say that with the client that we had who said that they were suffering from back pain, they said there was a change in them when we focused on that, wasn't there? Quite quickly. I think a lot of it depends on the mindset of the person,
1000%.
whether they want to let it go or not. Because unless you've physically been struck by something that has literally physically damaged your body, a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, a lot of pain that results from it is from feeling negative mindsets or feeling anxious or upset about something and it turning into a physical ailment. So if you can change the person's perspective on what it is that they've been suffering from, then you can take away the pain that's related to it. Sometimes it takes a couple of sessions to literally, it's like trying to massage a muscle. One session, you're not going to break through everything because it's been so used to being in a certain taut sensation and physical state a long time. You need to kind of sometimes take it gently to and not find it, and eventually get it used to being relaxed and calm and less caught up in itself and less knotted. But I find that just the warmth with Reiki, for example, I'll get times when I've done a lot of work when I've been stood on my feet and my knee will hurt, so I'll just put my hand on my knee, just put it there. Just that interaction there will, a few minutes later, I'll take my hand off and the pain's gone. It's that simple. It doesn't, you can go through the whole process and the whole ceremony, I suppose, if you want to call it, of opening up and doing the work, because that really is fully opening yourself as a channel. But once you're open to it anyway, you are doing it naturally. I mean, the best example was ever made to me was before you know anything about healing, every time you fall over, you cut yourself, whatever, the first thing you do with an injury is you put your hand over it, don't you? You automatically up, and that's because your body knows that it has this healing ability and wants to put the healing energy to wherever the injury is. And that's just a natural thing to do. That's an instinctive thing to do. I believe it's the same with animals, when they lick their wounds. That's their tongues and their hands and their mouths are in a way, aren't they? They transfer the energy to it. Like when a dog knows you're feeling not well, it comes up and licks your face. It's not because it likes the taste of your face. It's because it wants to give you that love and that energy.
So have you had a lot of people come in that basically medical science can't do, modern medicine can't do anything for, like people that have 2 weeks to live, and worked with them?
So far, no. Nothing that terminal, nothing with, we've dealt with like autoimmune, more MS stuff like that, but we haven't had a client who's had, who was given a terminal diagnosis, No.
But we did, we'd be very careful to work with the people who are treating them, because that's something that, you have to be very careful with, because if they are being treated in a medical sense, then, we advise people who, for having any medical intervention, to tell the people who, whatever service they're having, that they are going to have to work with us, because if they do see results and they do suddenly come into remission for whatever they're doing, then we want the medical people to know that it could be because of what we're doing with them, because we wouldn't want them to change the course of medication or anything like that if it was going to affect them, because we only want to help. We don't want to hinder anyone's situations. And also, I've been told about people who've worked with people with terminal situations, and a lot of the time they'll just take them through a meditation. The pond meditation I took you through, Stacey, the water one, I've been told is really good because it just helps people forget about the stress and the anxiety and the illness that they're feeling. But it's not something we've really looked for to do, is it? I mean, I'm sure we would consider working with people in that state, but we haven't had anybody approach us yet who's been in that situation. But as far as I'm aware, spiritual healing is becoming a lot more utilized in hospices and things like that, because people believe it works and have used it, and I believe had good results with it.
So Jay, my experience last year, I mean, I was in critical condition requiring 24/7 care. I mean, I was on my way out. I wasn't terminal. I didn't have cancer, thank God. But I mean, I was in bad shape. And I am 1000% healed. I mean, off all medications, off all supplements. I've never been healthier or happier. So I'm pretty much literally a walking testimony of how God can heal, how we can heal ourselves. And I only did Reiki, mindfulness, meditation, Kundalini. That's all I did. So I should be the poster child. Here, I'll be the Golden Zen Kundalini poster child.
So where could people reach out to you if they want to get in contact with you?
Right. Social media, the Instagram is golden_zen_Kundalini. With Golden Zen Kundalini on Facebook. www.goldenzenkundalini.com is the website, and on the first page of that we have a contact form down the bottom of the page where people can send their details and send us a message about what they want to get in contact with us about, and then we'll respond to them and take that further however is appropriate. And I believe that those are the main channels we use, really. Obviously, if they want to send us a message through either Instagram or the Facebook page, they're welcome to do that as well. But those are the 3 channels we're mostly using. The website has all the details of our services, the different types of services, and the length of time. We have single sessions, we have a 3-step program, we have a Kundalini energy and combination therapy service where we'll do readings, we'll do healings. We also have a development boot camp, which takes people through a lot of different stages to deal with understanding the chakras and how they heal them and working with them, connecting with them, etc. And as we said, we have in April at San Diego, we have the week-long retreat, which is going to be a variety of different healing methods and different ways for people to basically heal themselves through learning with us what to do, accessing their inner child, doing that kind of work, and hopefully leaving them with a lot of knowledge and a lot more self-confidence, really. We want people to, as we said, we want to teach people things, but we also want them to be able to help themselves. And then we're planning at the end of the week in April, anybody that is interested, we're going to offer an attunement to the first level of Reiki to get them started on that journey so they can then start learning it themselves and exploring what it does and how it does it, and begin their kind of stronger spiritual journey with understanding energy work and the way that Reiki works within things. And then if they take it further with us, that's great. And maybe they may find they have their Kundalini awakenings. That's not something that we feel we can make happen. As we said, if it's right, it's right. But it'd be interesting to see if people do, because I find it interesting yet how Stacey had hers, and through interacting with her, sparked mine off. So I'd be interested to see if we do the same with other people, whether they have the same experience or not, because I just feel that it could be possible.
And we do offer 15-minute consults, Jay, just so you know, discovery calls.
So, like, what is one final word each of you would like to leave with us? We'll start with Stacey and then David.
Don't be afraid of the unknown. Do not be afraid. It's the scariest thing you'll ever go through, but honestly, when you're looking out from the outside looking in, you're going to be so glad you took that step into the unknown, because there's nothing like it. Nothing.
I would say allow yourself to find peace and be in a peaceful situation, because everybody who's so intent on being busy or having something to do, that doing nothing can seem like a waste of time or like you're being lazy. But so again, going back to the meditating, just try and learn to be happy in a quiet environment without needing some kind of distraction or some kind of noise. Your head be as empty as possible of thought, and just allow yourself to be present in the moment, because we keep looking for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But if we keep trying to run away from where we are, we're never going to build a substantial grounding to work from. And that's what I feel is important.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on today. I really enjoyed having you and learning about Kundalini meditation, what it can do for us.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.